All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for showing the overwhelming response over the last 2 days. And this is the third and the final day of Aiss. Nonetheless, we have interesting workshops lined up. We have interesting topics, plenary sessions lined up, and also we have awards. So let's get started with this interesting workshop by Cyber team. And the reason I'm calling this workshop interesting almost 3 times till now is that we are handling one of the important questions today. And the question is, have you elevated incident response? Right? Now, it's a hands-on exercise where we will see the demos and we'll see the coding. And there are also role plays involved here. Right? But before I go any further, please note that there is a public chat functionality on left side of the screen. If you have any questions, please feel free to write it, and I'll take that up at appropriate time with our Cyber team. Right? And yeah, so with this, the question that most of us have is incident response. Is incident response any different from threat response? Maybe they are same, maybe one is subset of another. To be honest, till today, I don't have that clear answer, but I'm sure that by the end of this workshop, we will have that answer with us. Now, in a very basic term, my understanding is that incident response is handling and responding to cyber attacks, while threat response leverages the threat intel, the intel that we get from various feeds, the evidence-based information that we get, goals, objectives, motives, and what are the emerging threats, right? So that's my understanding, but let's see over the duration of 2 hours to get a clear-cut answer. Now, of course, key things that we are answering today is, have you elevated your incident response? And to answer that question, we have 2 role plays, and each role play will have about 2 to 3 demos. And some of the questions that I've been told that we will be addressing today is, how can you automate threat intel? How can you generate contextual data around malware and hash? Right? And there are many more interesting questions that we will get answered today. We will also understand the basic difference between orchestration and automation, and whether these 2 are sufficient in themselves or do we need something else. We will also look at threat intel framework and threat response framework. Now, in order to drive this workshop, we have 3 speakers from Cyber. So let me introduce them one by one. We have Avkash Khateria, who is the VP Research and Innovation. He has more than 12 years of experience of information security domain, and currently he is research and innovation in cyber fusion and threat intelligence domain. He also leads Null Mumbai chapter Open Security Community. Then we have Bhaven Panchal. He is the senior program manager. He has 8+ years of industry experience, and currently he is managing solution delivery at Cyber Labs for EMEA and APAC clients. Now, his expertise lies in cybersecurity operation, incident detection, threat intelligence, and network security. We also have with us Shreyansh Sahu, who is the solution architect. He is security orchestration, cyber threat intelligence, and customer engagements. So with this, I would like to hand it over to Avkash, who will take this presentation, this workshop forward. Avkash, over to you.
Thank you so much, Sunit, for the warm welcome and the introduction here, and also thanks to the DCI team for this opportunity for us to present our thought process behind the threat response and orchestration and threat intelligence, because most of us who are doing the workshop here, comes from our own hands-on background, where I also been myself an SIM admin, SOC analyst, as well as the SOC manager, and also set up the teams for threat intel, threat hunting, IR for the large banks as well. And we also have Bhavin and Shreyansh, who both comes from again the hands-on background. So I thought that in this workshop, what we will try to share is more of our own experience, that what we have experienced when being on field, and what we always felt that if this kind of scripts or this kind of tools would have been with us, we would have done much better incident response or much better threat intelligence. So what we are trying to share today is very much our own experience, and yes, we will try to make it more and more interactive. So please feel free to ask as many questions as possible. We will try to answer from our own experience there. With that, let's look at the agenda first. So, Bhavin, if you can move next. So, we'll be taking care of, we'll start with threat response, the overview, and what is the combination IR and TI. Then we will split this into two separate parts, specifically, 45 minute separate sessions, role play 1 and role play 2. Role play 1, we will start focusing on threat intelligence specifically, threat intel operations and orchestration. There we'll take multiple scenarios and demos that why threat intel is important. We will pick actual real life examples that you end up doing in your day-to-day life. If you are a SOC analyst or IR guy or threat intel analyst or a SOC manager, even from the executive perspective, that what are those situations that you encounter and how you respond to those situations in your day-to-day life. And then we will just see the overview of threat intel framework, that when you are strategizing threat intelligence, what are the key things which you should take care in your complete framework. And the second half of this workshop, which will jump into more IR and how to elevate your IR to TR, what we call threat response. And we'll again take 2-3 real life examples there. We'll start with the real life scenarios and we'll try to elevate those scenarios using a bunch of open source script and some enterprise grade tools as well. And then we will end up with the threat response framework overview, where we talk about that for the SOC manager, IR manager, or TI manager, or for the executives, how it is important to look the things more from 360-degree holistic view and plan the things into your day-to-day operation. With this, the most important thing, we are going to use a lot of Python scripts for automations as well. And those are like complete open source scripts. We will be making that publicly available after the session. So please keep an eye on our Twitter handle or the LinkedIn page. We will be making the announcement on our GitHub repo. We'll be releasing those Python scripts. Also, one interesting announcement for today, as a spyware for community contribution, we are releasing one more SecOps Docker specifically, and this Docker will help you. It's a Docker image filled with a lot of open source utilities for your threat intel operations as well as for your IR operations for automation, and this can be your go-to Docker image in your day-to-day analysis or operation. So this Docker image also will be making it publicly available for anyone to use, and it's a complete open source, and we'll make it available in our GitHub as well, so that you can go back with some good learnings, and when you go back to your operations, you can start utilizing these things in your day-to-day life. With that, I would start, talking about threat response, and why this term came into our discussion. That we keep talking about incident response, right? When we were also an IR analyst, we used to deal with our typical NIST incident response framework, the life cycle that we deal with. Detect and analyze the incident, you investigate, forensic analysis, and then you remediate, recover from the situation, you document the learning, and you close the incident. But it's still, I felt that it was becoming an operations more, and it was more like some kind of management of tickets, how we used to manage in the our IT world. We get the desktop tickets, an application support ticket, and the similar mindset of SOC analyst or the IR guy we have seen. It focus is more on the tickets and closing the tickets and the SLA. But somewhere what we miss is that we are the first line responders for the organization, right? So are we first of all in that mindset where we feel that yes, we are the security frontier of the organization. We are not just here to work on those tickets and just close the tickets within the tag and within the time frame. Are we doing enough investigation or enough analysis of those incidents where we are able to go to the depth of the threat which is causing this kind of incident? And the threat can be from multiple angles. It can be an external professional APT group targeting your organization, or some random guy, for making some money, he's targeting your organization, or he's trying to proliferate his own botnet network and targeting all the organization, or maybe an insider threat, right? With maybe a disgruntled employee trying to cause a damage to an organization. So threats can come in any form. Are we going behind the threat, that why this incident happened? Is it happened just because of some misconfiguration, or some insider threat, or some professional attack? And are we capturing enough information about that incident? That is it, which malware was involved in this incident? What vulnerability it exploited? What kind of asset it targeted? Is it a desktop? Is it a laptop? Is it a particular department they are targeting? Is it my finance team always targeting, or my marketing team getting targeted, right? So those kind of contextual analysis is the must for any SOC team or IR team today. The incident, or threat intel team can't say that, hey, this is the intel I'm receiving, that's my intel, I am processing, and I'll give I'll work for this organization. No, siloed operations is not the future. It's not good for organization as well, and that's where they need to start talking to each other and work more in collaboration. When IR team see some malicious CNC happening, some domain malicious domain popping up into their investigation, are they collaborating with the threat intel team to bring the right threat context? In that, hey, is this domain involved into any malware campaign? Which malware family this is involved? Is that malware family being used by any of the threat group today? Or is this malware family targeting financial institute or financial geography, or is this malware popularly targeting India as a geography or US as a geography? So when you start going to those kind of contexts with the help of threat intelligence team, that's the true value, and we all work together, or in our we call cyber fusion, right? In the end, we will touch base that concept as well, that why cyber fusion. We have seen many customers in US, Europe region, and few customers in APAC region as well, now started calling more than a SOC, so Cyber Fusion Center. It may be another name for an industry, but it was with a good intention that people are trying to bring that. It's not just a security operations team or IR team or threat intel team or threat hunting team. We are trying to fuse the human part as well as technology part with the orchestration, and that's where cyber fusion has to work in collaboration. Collaboration not just at human level, not just at technology level. It has to be human to human, machine to machine, as well as human to machine collaboration, right? And that's where all the three-dimension collaboration working together and making the cyber fusion successful in this overall journey. And with that intent, when we will go into the depth of this role play, we are not just showcasing that how IR will independently sustain, and how IR will do the automation on their own. We'll be also covering that when you are responding to an incident, how threat intel can be also leveraged, and vice versa. When you are doing a threat intel operation, how important the IR team or SOC team or threat hunting team is in this overall ecosystem. So in both the role play scenarios, in real life, that how you can deal with that. And I think first role play will start with threat intel operation and orchestration, and I'll invite Bhavin to take it over from here.
Thanks a lot, Akash. And I think that was really to the point what we are trying to cover over here. And I would say just one more sentence on just enhancing how exactly we are looking forward to the workshop is. Both the role plays are not something that you look at the hypothetical situation or you look at the best possible scenarios, but rather they're really very close to the ground team who's actually day in day out facing these challenges, looking into these challenges, or handling these kind of operations. So our both the role plays are focusing majorly and heavily on the on-ground challenges and looking into those introspective aspects where an analyst, how does he spend his entire day and what kind of challenges he has to undergo just because there is a lack of automation, there's a lack of orchestration, or there's a lack of contextual information available for his day-to-day operation, and how these broken pieces can be connected with each other to create that massive, big security picture that every organization has a dream of achieving. Okay. So with that being said, I would just quickly go to the next slide where I would like to start with a small character which we are trying to, make as close as to the operating ground on the floor. Okay. So we have this kind of person or this kind of charisma in every organization, in every team, in every, I would say, CTI life cycle, where we're just introducing a small character. Her name is Ella Jones. Okay. I'm sure most of the team members or most of the audience over here would gradually start connecting with her when we talk about her issues or we talk about